TV Morning News on the CW.
Good morning. Welcome back to the KDKA TV Morning News right here on Pittsburgh CW. Our top story coming up in just a minute, but first let's talk about weather, and it's a pretty decent start. Beautiful shots we've seen this morning.
Really going to like this forecast. Here's meteorologist Dennis Bowman. Dennis.
Oh yeah, it's been a long time getting here. Some sunshine and temperatures taking off into the 40s. That's where we'll be this afternoon. It certainly is not where we are right now. Make no mistake about that. I still have some clouds overhead. 19 degrees as we begin the day together, and winds are completely calm, so we ignore the wind chill factor. There is none. Right now, we'll expect this 39 by 12 noon with some sunshine, and we expect to peak out at around 3 o'clock this afternoon at 48 degrees. Yes, much milder than it has been. We'll be down in the mid-40s at 6 p.m. still with some sun mixing with a few clouds overhead. We're tracking a little bit of precipitation for tomorrow. The full forecast is coming up. Keith, Sunny?
Dennis, thank you. It is a farewell one family never imagined they would have to go through. A mother and a baby boy weeks from being born are dead. Hundreds of people gathered for their funeral services yesterday. KDKA's Ross Gadati is live with more on that. Ross.
Yeah, good morning, Sunny. Kenzie Marie Houck, remembered as a sweet young woman anxiously awaiting the arrival of her newest child, a little boy to be a stepbrother to her two daughters. Hundreds of family and friends attended Houck's memorial service in Newcastle. Many telling of how Kenzie was the kind of girl who'd strike up a conversation with anyone and be positive with them. A young woman who would take the time to visit a sick relative and absolutely loved the company of her little girls. Funeral director Roger DeCarbo says the display of support for the family of the slain woman was something that they will not forget.
The circumstances obviously dictate a lot of what goes on, the emotion and so on and so forth. But the little baby's family was here, the father of the baby was here, and his friends and family. And they were here for an hour and a half or so, and they had a private service for themselves.
Kenzie Marie Houck is survived by her one daughter, Janessa, age 7, and Adeline, she is age 4. They are living with Kenzie's parents right now. Also in attendance, Chris Brown, Kenzie's fiance and the father of the unborn son. The child was to be named after him. Reporting live, Ross Gadati, KDKA TV Morning News on Pittsburgh CW.
All right, Ross, thank you. People were able to return to their homes finally. This following an 8-hour ordeal in Zelienople. A man barricaded himself inside that home. He then turned the gun on himself and took his own life. KDKA's David Hall live now with more on what happened. David?
Good morning, Keith. We're talking about 22-year-old Connor O'Halloran. Now, O'Halloran was a student at a university in Arizona, but he came back here to be at home with his family, with his parents, because he was dealing with emotional problems. Now, O'Halloran was the center of attention in a standoff on Tuesday over in Zelienople, which is in Butler County. Now, this standoff lasted right around 8 hours, and it started in the afternoon with a desperate phone call from O'Halloran's dad saying that his son had barricaded himself in a bedroom with a gun. Now, over 15 police agencies responded to this home on Oakdale Drive and tried to make contact with O'Halloran, but they all were unsuccessful. Now, eventually, police entered the home around 9 in the evening and found O'Halloran dead in his bedroom with what they believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, police think he fired a round of shots around 7 o'clock earlier in the evening, killing himself with at least one of those rounds.
You know, the state police search team tried different methods to try to call him on the phone, things like that. They used gas to try to get him to come out of the house, but none of that worked.
Now, police still have a lot of unanswered questions, and they will be interviewing O'Halloran's family in the near future. Reporting from Mount Washington, David Hall, KDKA TV Morning News on Pittsburgh CW.
Thank you, David. Relatives of the woman accused of killing an FBI agent are trying to have her case moved out of federal court. Christina Corby is charged with shooting and killing Agent Sam Hicks, during a raid at her home in Indiana Township. An Allegheny County judge set a hearing date for Thursday, but that's likely to be preempted. Federal prosecutors want the motion to be heard in federal court, where Corby was originally indicted. A local woman has filed a federal lawsuit claiming her son died in prison after being refused medical treatment. 48-year-old Terry Johnson turned himself into the Fayette County prison in 2007. The lawsuit says Johnson suffered a perforated intestine the next day, but wasn't treated and died that night. The Fayette County solicitor says he has not seen the lawsuit and so far cannot comment.
Two volunteer firefighters are charged with setting fires. Police say 22-year-old Michael Ott and 15-year-old Jeffrey Hustick set two fires in New Stanton, Westmoreland County. Hustick is also facing attempted murder charges after police say he set his own house on fire while his parents were asleep inside. Hustick apparently told police he was trying to kill himself, but later changed his mind. Neighbors can't believe that Hustick would do such a thing.
I never thought Jeff would do it. Honest to God, I didn't. Never give it a thought that that kid would be the one who was setting these fires.
Ott is also accused of setting a fourth fire.
Well, lane restrictions on Route 28 didn't seem to cause too many problems for drivers last night. The road is down to one lane outbound between Chestnut Street and the Millvale interchange, while crews fix the wall outside of the old Heinz plant. Lane restrictions will remain in place through August. Meantime, the Parkway West inbound will be down to a single lane for the next few nights between Campbell's Run and the I-79 interchanges. The lane closure starting at 10 every night through Thursday, ending at 5 in the morning. And look out for more delays on the Turnpike this weekend. That highway will be shut down in both directions between the Allegheny Valley and the Butler Valley exits. That closure will happen at midnight Sunday and last for about 5 hours. Detours will be posted.
A case of animal abuse has Washington County woman now facing a long list of charges. Humane officers found 30 horses, some of them starving and emaciated, on properties along Bedillion Road, in Washington. This was last week. Many of the animals hadn't eaten for months. Others could barely stand or walk. Some had already died. Horses on the property had been investigated before, but things had gone from bad to worse.
We're hoping that we can turn things around here for this bunch. We do need some help with, hay and feed and stuff like that. It's a lot of horses and they go through a lot of supplies and they are real hungry.
Officials aren't identifying the owner of the horses just yet, but they say she is not the owner of the property.
Two Pittsburgh city workers have been fired amid charges they tried to sell a stolen dirt bike while on the job. Joseph Finello and Harry Bersani had 5 days to explain to their supervisors why they should not be fired. Both men submitted letters to their superiors, but City Operations Director Art Victor said they were not satisfactory. He fired them, and both men are facing criminal charges. Casino operators are clashing with the governor over the future of gambling in Pennsylvania. Executives from the two casinos in the Pittsburgh area say they support bringing table games to their facilities, but they were silent on Governor Ed Rendell's plan to legalize video poker machines in bars and taverns. Rendell wants to use the tax revenue from those video poker machines to fund tuition relief for state college students. Coming up, Mardi Gras celebrations being held in the Big Easy yesterday, but things did get chaotic at one point after a shooting. We'll have the details of this coming up.
Also coming up, holding on for dear life. Find out how two people were rescued after trying to, cross a creek.
And don't forget to watch the 10 o'clock news here on Pittsburgh CW. Ken Rice has your news every weeknight. Jeff Verzella, your local forecast. Tune in at 10 tonight here on Pittsburgh CW. Two people are recovering after a miraculous river rescue. This happened in Camp Verde, Arizona, which is north of Phoenix, after a man and woman were trying to cross a creek, but apparently their ATV was swept downstream. Officials say the two clung to a tree for nearly 2.5 hours before river rescue arrived. Both victims were rescued, though, and are doing just fine. Also from the water, a shark caught in Australia's picturesque Sydney Harbor. This comes just 2 weeks after a Navy diver lost a hand and a leg to a shark attack in that same area. A Sydney ferries captain used his mobile phone to film two fishermen pulling that creature into the boat. Witnesses believe it may have been a bull shark.
Well, credit card companies are doing just about anything they can to help some people eliminate their credit card debt. And a few companies are actually offering customers money, all in an effort to get rid of those high-risk accounts. As Kirsten Cole reports, this is becoming quite a trend.
If your credit card company offered you $300 to pay off your balance, would you take it?
I couldn't do it and wouldn't do it. That's not enough incentive.
I might just do it.
But here's the catch. Not only do you have to pay off the balance, you must cancel the account.
It's kind of unusual for a card company.
American Express, once a card aimed at the wealthiest consumers, is doing just that. In 2007, the company lost more than $400 million, partially blamed on cardholders who could no longer afford to pay their bills. Now, in an effort to get rid of more of their high-risk customers, Amex is offering a $300 gift card to some cardholders as an incentive to pay off their revolving account balances by the end of April.
They're trying to get ahead of the curve, eliminate what they would think would be low profitability and high-risk accounts.
Stephen Murphy with Tower Group, an organization that tracks consumer credit card spending, says such incentives may just be the first step that companies are taking to ward off the skyrocketing number of delinquencies.
People that are in trouble have an opportunity to get out of trouble by talking to the banks.
Over the past year, Bank of America and Citibank say they've also accelerated efforts to reach out to customers earlier in the delinquency cycle before their financial situation becomes too distressed, offering a number of options to pay.
That was Kirsten Cole reporting. Bottom line here, experts say take advantage of credit card companies that are eager to negotiate with you to wipe away some of your debt so that you can keep you from defaulting on those loans.
All right, back to the topic of weather, where we are expecting a pretty noticeable improvement in the forecast today.
We are, and a lot of us are saying it's about time. Let's check with meteorologist Dennis Bowman.
It is about time. We've been chilling out here for quite a few days, and now we're going to see temperatures a little more tolerable as we get into the afternoon. That's the view in southeastern Butler County. It's still looking mainly cloudy out there. This is not going to be a pristine, sunshiny day. There will be clouds from time to time, but we will get that sun going, at least on a partially sunny basis, and that will warm things up into the 40s this afternoon. Let's go to our maps, give you an idea of how things are as we look down on the situation from above. High pressure is pretty much anchored off the middle Atlantic seaboard, and so we see a preponderance, mostly fair weather across the northeast this morning. But again, some high clouds milk up the sky every now and again. We're also getting a return flow of southerly air eventually today. Right now the winds are calm, but they'll be kicking in out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that in tandem with quite a bit of sunshine will help those temperatures take off on us a little bit as we get into the afternoon hours. So a winter coat this morning, a lighter jacket as you get out and take a walk this afternoon or whatever. 19 degrees right now, 76% humidity. Winds are calm. I have pressure steady at 30.30 inches of mercury. Well, moisture is gathering out in the nation's heartland. We're actually going to see some of that rain move through here late tonight. That would be after midnight in the form of drizzle or light shower activity into perhaps affecting tomorrow morning's rush hour with a little bit of fog as well. Now, a more important cold front and disturbance will come through here late tomorrow night and into Friday morning, and this will set off some rain showers that could be moderately heavy at times during the day on Friday. So you want to plan on a wet weather day there, and then some cooler air will be draining in behind that as we make our approach to the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, yes, there will be a disturbance, a low pressure system working its way across the southern states. As we get into the Sunday, Monday time frame, we have to keep our options open for the potential of this thing hanging a big turn and going up the Atlantic seaboard. If it just continues going straight out to sea, no problem. If it becomes a nor'easter going up the coast, then the question becomes how much precipitation in the form of snow, no doubt, would get thrown over the Appalachian chain and into Pittsburgh. Potentially, that could be significant, but it's several days out there, so we have quite a few days to watch it. Lots of sun today as we take them one at a time. Much milder, south winds 5 to 10, up to 48 this afternoon. We'll cloud up tonight, some late showers working their way in, and fog towards morning, the low 36 degrees. And there's your 5-day forecast. We'll pick it up tomorrow. Mainly cloudy, some morning sprinkle activity, the high 52. And on Friday, periods of rain, some of it on the heavy side, 50 degrees for a high. A little cooler Saturday with a high of 47 and patchy clouds. And then on Sunday, got some snow showers, potentially, and a high of 36. That's the one we'll be watching. February 25th, how it can be. The lowest ever was -4 in 1900. The highest was 73 degrees 100 years later in the year 2000. So yes, that's an example of what can be dished out on the 25th of February. Isn't that interesting that the standing records for today's date are exactly 100 years apart?
Really interesting. Obviously, we're fans of the 2000-year record.
Yeah,
we are. 73.
Unfortunately, we're closer to the other.
Yeah, still are, yeah.
All right. Dennis, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Time right now is 7:47. Mardi Gras celebrations have come to an end, but the celebrations weren't just in New Orleans yesterday. Check out the scene at the Westin Convention Center downtown. The 15th annual Mardi Gras Gala, complete with a parade and the coronation of King and Queen. Last night's event benefited the Epilepsy Foundation. Now with a look at the celebrations in New Orleans, here is Terry Okita.
They let the good times roll at Mardi gras. These revelers weren't worried about any recession.
This is actually the getaway from like we're back to life tomorrow.
Hotels were full, drinks flowed, and hundreds of thousands brought big economic and morale boosts to Bourbon Street. Some even say Mardi Gras felt like it did before Hurricane Katrina hit.
Everybody should know that New Orleans is a viable place.
But even a party can turn ugly. Police arrested 2 men in connection with a shooting that injured 6 people, including a baby. It happened at a crowded afternoon Mardi Gras parade in the city's Garden District.
Unfortunately, you have situations with guns that happen even in large cities. It's not the norm during Mardi Gras to have those.
With the bad economy and the city still rebounding from Katrina, you'd think people wouldn't have much to party about. But this is New Orleans after all, and fun comes easy in the Big Easy.
The first Mardi Gras was held in 1857, and since then the party has only gotten bigger and more decadent. Last year, more than 750,000 revelers came to New Orleans to party. City officials hope to at least match that this year, and it's likely they will.
What's the best part about Mardi Gras?
That right there!
The noise, the color, the camaraderie, absolutely fabulous.
But the fun can't last forever. On Wednesday, the season of Lent begins, and for many here, so do the hangovers. Terry Okita, CBS News, New Orleans.
And with the end of Mardi Gras comes the beginning of the Christian season of Lent. Today is Ash Wednesday. Many people will not just attend Mass, they'll also attend a fish fry as well. If you're looking for one in your neighborhood, we have you covered on our website, KDKA.com. You will find a link to more than 80 local fish fries at the top of our homepage.
Well, it kind of looked like a Steelers tailgating session yesterday at Walmart. It's because Hines Ward was signing copies of the Super Bowl DVD at the West Mifflin store there. One fan told Brenda Waters that he spent all night there just so he could be the first in line to get Hines' autograph.
I was out at the Best Buy in South Hills Village from 6 o'clock at night till 12.
Were you the first one in line there too?
The fourth.
Okay. And you're the first one in line here?
Yeah, because I came right after I was done there.
Ward didn't disappoint. He shook fans' hands and posed for pictures too. All right, today it's going to be linebacker Larry Woodley's turn. He's going to be signing copies of the NFL Super Bowl 43 championship Pittsburgh Steelers DVD. He'll be at the Giant Eagle in Robinson Township beginning at 1.
The #1 spot in the country may be a curse when it comes to college basketball. Just a day after attaining the top spot in men's college basketball, Pitt has lost. Providence beat the Panthers 81-73 in Providence last night. This is the second time Pitt has lost while being ranked #1 this year, and the 6th time the top-ranked team has lost. Providence was not ranked.
Well, Sidney Crosby expected to play tonight despite a nagging groin injury. He left practice early yesterday because of that injury. The Pens call it just precautionary. Crosby has also been fighting the flu. The Pens take on the New York Islanders at Mellon Arena tonight.
West Virginia University's winningest coach has reached a new milestone. Gymnastics coach Linda Burdett reached her 600th win, all of them at WVU in her 34 previous seasons. Burdett has accumulated 10 conference championships, 30 trips to regionals, and 4 trips to nationals. She admits she works the team hard, but only so they can succeed.
We try to instill in them that you have to practice the way you want to compete. You can't just turn it on when you go out into a competition. Every day in the gym is important.
Burdett is hopeful this year's team is good enough to make it to the Nationals in April. Student Adam Treadway covered this story for us as part of KDKA's partnership with the WVU School of Journalism.
Well, sneaky, selfish, and in need of psychological help. Those are the words Nadja Solomon's mother used to describe her. Her mother is in California, and she recently gave, well, Nadja obviously recently gave birth to octuplets. Lots of people have questioned why a woman with no husband, no job, would undergo in vitro fertilization, considering that she already had 6 kids. Her mother wondered the same thing.
Your mom has alluded that you might be a little crazy.
Not crazy, and she knows I'm not emotionally unstable. See, she's using that it sounds so strong, but she doesn't really know. She's throwing out the label obsessive compulsive. She believes, I kept going and going and going. It doesn't have to do with, that's not OCD.
So do you think there could be more babies? I hope not. I really hope not.
Angela Solomon says her daughter lied to her when she asked if she'd undergone another in vitro procedure. She denied the pregnancy and instead said that she had a tumor.
Well, Wall Street hopes to continue a rally today after yesterday's big turnaround. The Dow closed up 236 points yesterday after Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke downplayed bank takeover fears. The gain nearly erases the drop on Monday. The Nasdaq ended the day up 54 points as well. We are back with another check of your top stories, including a look back at a memorial service held for a pregnant woman murdered in Lawrence County.
We'll take a look at the roadways as well and talk about weather when we come back. 7:53 is the time.
Well, a little bit of sun gracing the neighborhoods this morning, getting through the cloud deck, and it's still chilly out there. 19 degrees, the last report out of Pittsburgh International. That's going to be jumping up by leaps and bounds, though, as we get more in the way of sunshine and a little southerly flow coming into town. For example, 48 expected here in Pittsburgh, down to 36 tonight. Showers should hold off until after midnight coming in here and may be affecting tomorrow morning's rush hour. Tomorrow, a mainly cloudy day, 52. And then we'll be at 50 degrees on Friday with the possibility of, well, in fact, it's a pretty good likelihood of periods of moderately heavy rain. That's your forecast. Let's check in with Keith and Sunny.
All right, thanks very much, Dennis. Funeral services were held for the pregnant woman who was shot and killed in Wampum, Lawrence County.
If hundreds of mourners turned out to say goodbye to 26-year-old Kenzie Hauk and her unborn son last night. 11-year-old Jordan Brown is accused in this crime. He has been arrested and will be moved to a juvenile facility.
A 22-year-old man is dead after an 8-hour standoff with police. Connor O'Halloran locked himself inside of his parents' home in Zelienople, Butler County. This was yesterday afternoon. He died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Police say O'Halloran had some type of emotional problems and he was home with his parents from college in Arizona.
Police continue to look for suspects after a deadly shooting in Pittsburgh's Perry Hilltop neighborhood. 21-year-old Antoine Cooper died at Allegheny General Hospital after being shot along Hawkins Avenue around 4:30 yesterday afternoon. Witnesses say they saw two men driving away in a white SUV. There's still no word on the motive behind this shooting.
Let's hit the roadways one last time. Take a look at the local traffic situation. This is the Parkway east at Wilkinsburg, where you are jammed at Route 8. That's Wilkinsburg, all the way into the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. Your average speed through the Forest Hill area is 6 miles per hour. That's because of an earlier accident, which is now clear. That was between the Forest Hills area and the Edgewood Swissvale. But again, that's clear now.
Let's take it back on the Parkway West. Right now, a look right around Route 60 in Robinson Township. Inbound and outbound traffic, obviously great from this vantage point. Problem spot is when you get a little closer to the Fort Pitt tunnels headed inbound. You are backing up around Parkway Center and you're down to just 10 miles an hour headed inbound on the Parkway West from that point.
There's a look at your drive times, and we're out of time. We'll be back in 25 minutes, though.
Good morning.